started, I'd like to recognize Councilor Albano for the purpose of a motion that the tabulation and determination of the votes cast in the November 8th election for state officers and ballot questions be accepted, and that an abstract of such tabulation and determination be forthwith transmitted to the State Secretary as provided under the provisions of Chapter 54 of the General Laws.
Governor, on behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth, I move the question.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Point of order?
Councilor Case.
Thank you. I would request a second on my motion for a roll call vote on question 4.
Second.
Would you tell the public what question 4 is?
If they don't already know, it's the marijuana initiative. Councilor Devaney.
Okay, we can proceed with the roll call. There's a motion, there's a second.
Discussion.
Specifically as to question 4.
Lieutenant
Yes.
Governor,
So I'd like,
I just want to make it clear to the public, we're voting on the results of the votes of November 8th. It does not reflect the individual councils. We're voting on the results of their election.
so we're going to take up.
I'd like to be heard on question 4.
Yes.
And
Can we proceed with the motion on the matter
accepting
for
question
all
4.
of the ballot questions and the state officers? And then, because that does not require a roll call vote, and then proceed to the second motion that has been seconded for a roll call vote on question 4.
Yes.
Okay, so at this time, before the council members, is the motion, which has been seconded, and if all those in
Point
favor?
of information, I just
Aye.
don't understand, we've never done this before, and I'd like to take one question. We have to accept
We're
the
going to
election.
have, we have two motions before the council. The first, and I can repeat, is a motion that has been made by Councilor Albano for the purpose that the tabulation and determination of the votes cast in the November 8th election for state officers and ballot questions be accepted, and that an abstract of such tabulation and determination be forthwith transmitted to the State Secretary, as provided under the provisions of Chapter 54 of the General Laws. That motion has been made and is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
That has been taken. There is also a motion that has been seconded relative to question 4, that a roll call vote by this council be taken. We may proceed.
I would like to be heard.
We just voted on it.
Just vote.
No, we didn't. We accepted question 4. Was seconded for a roll call vote on question 4, and I'd like to be heard. Thank you.
Councilor Casey, I'd like the councilor to be heard. Councilor Casey.
First off, I cannot in good conscience certify question 4. This is not about respecting the voters of Massachusetts. This is about life and death. Here in the Commonwealth, up to last month, we have buried 1,005 young persons and young adults, 72 people per county in Massachusetts. I've read the papers every day. I see the obituaries. I've attended the funerals. I have hugged kids as young as 5 and 6 years old, standing next to the coffins of their parents. And as far as marijuana being a gateway drug, not everybody who has smoked marijuana has used heroin, but everybody who has used heroin has smoked marijuana. The science in our law is clear that a juvenile's brain is not developed until age 25. As we fight this drug epidemic, which we talk about in this council chamber frequently, that is killing so many people, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, we can stand here and hide behind the voice of the people and the voter at the voting box. But I can't stand here in good conscience and do that. I can't stand here and say, I will certify a vote to put more drugs on the streets of Massachusetts, to deprive a generation of its future, to make it available for teenagers and young adults, so it can be bantered around in the streets of the Commonwealth, so young children can see it. I will not vote today to destroy more lives here in the Commonwealth. I'm sure my colleagues may have different opinions, but I'm elected to do a job and to serve the people in my district with a good conscience and with conviction. And so I stand opposed to the certification of this vote.
Would anyone else like to be heard?
Yeah,
Councilor
just
Ioannoni.
briefly, I plan to vote for the certification, but I would like to ask the governor's legal counsel, what is the effect if this body followed Councilor Casey and voted no? What effect does that have?
I would say it's always dangerous to do research on your cell phone, which is what I'm doing now.
And I think before we vote on that, I'd like to know.
Section 116 of chapter 54 of the general law says that the governor shall, in the presence of at least 5 councilors, certify the results of the votes, etc. So I don't, I think it would be a question as to whether the council could vote no on the certification.
So it's your opinion that a no vote may have no effect whatsoever?
I think that the council is free always to put its point of view on the record, but I'm not sure of the effect of that. But I wouldn't want to answer a constitutional or a statutory question of this magnitude but the statute does not appear to call for a vote.
I'm sorry, the statute
does
what?
not appear to call for a vote.
On view of that, I would ask that no roll call be taken. There's no reason for it.
I'd just like to say on the record, I'm not here to talk about the destruction of lives of drugs. I have 2 close friends whose sons died of an overdose of heroin this past year. That's not our responsibility here to vote on how we feel. It's tragic. We are here to certify the votes, and the people have spoken on November 8th, and it's our responsibility. We're certifying our own election here. We're voting for our election, we're voting for ballot questions, and we just voted for all of them. So how can we say, okay, now we're taking one out of that? We're here to represent the people's voice, and whether you agree or disagree, you had a choice to vote no or yes on those ballot questions. And we're here to represent the people who voted that, and that's what we're going to do today. Thank you.